Part 272. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 2711. Chapter 2711. Sorry, I did think so before. I think it's great to be able to cooperate with such seniors. Linda was stunned again, and then she looked at Jiao Mian with more appreciation. It's good that you think so. Mian, you really like acting, and you really love this profession. Huh? Does Sister Xie believe that I really like acting now? You didn't always think that I was just playing tricks, right? Linda was silent for a few seconds, with an awkward expression on her face. Sorry, I did think so before. After all, she is a wealthy daughter and now the wife of the CEO of the Mo family. Linda does not think that she will really like her identity as an actress. In the eyes of famous families like the Bai family and the Mo family, actors are equal to the status of actors. Although Mo Yesi supports Jiao Mianmian's acting. But for other people in the Mahist family, this is not necessarily the case. Especially the elders in the family will definitely disapprove. So when Jiao Mianmian said she was preparing to have a baby, Linda actually thought about whether this would be an excuse for her to quit the entertainment industry. She said that she would continue to act after giving birth to a baby. But when the time comes, if she doesn't want to come back, who will dare to say anything? But what Jiao Mian just said made Linda know that she was wrong. If you don't really like this line of work and love this line of work, you wouldn't be able to say those words. Who likes to be scolded? Jiao Mian deliberately pretended to be very sad, covering her chest with a shocked expression. It turns out that Sister Xie never believed that I really like this industry. You actually don't trust me so much. I'm so sad. Mian, are you angry? Linda thought she was really shocked and hurriedly wanted to explain. Ha, you're kidding. Seeing Linda taking it seriously, Jiao Mian immediately laughed. How could I be angry with you because of something like this? But Sister Xie, can you trust me from now on? I really enjoy acting, and I have never thought about giving up this career. Well, I believe you. Linda relaxed when she saw her smile. She looked at the breathtakingly beautiful face of the girl opposite and said sincerely, Mian, you are really talented in acting. If you, it's really a pity for me to give up this business. Asterisk. After lunch, there are still 2 hours of rest time. Jiao Mian didn't sleep for a moment, and took the time to watch the 2 scenes in the afternoon several times, especially the scene opposite her and Su Jin. When it came time to start filming, the first scene was her opposite Su Jin. The two of them were in good positions. As soon as the director called start, Su Jin immediately got into the mood. He looked at the girl in red kneeling in the snow with a cold expression, anger burning in his eyes, but he was able to restrain this anger. But in his extreme anger, he could not control the veins exposed on his forehead. Say, why did you go to assassinate her? Do you know you were wrong now? Master, my disciple is right. The girl in red kneeling in the snow straightened her back. Her water-cut autumn eyes were already red, but she still said stubbornly, that woman approached you with a purpose. If you don't stay away from her, you will be harmed by her. Disciple just doesn't want master to be harmed by her. Killing her will prevent future troubles forever. Disciple. Pa. As soon as the girl finished speaking, she received a heavy slap on the face. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 2712. Chapter 2712. I found a treasure. Who lie? When did it become your turn to take charge of my affairs? Until now, you still refuse to admit your mistake. You are so stubborn. From today on, you will stay at Sigi Cliff to repent. Without my permission, you will not just take a step here. The eyes of the man in white with a perfect temperament were full of disappointment. The moment he saw the cheeks of the stunning girl kneeling in front of him became red and swollen, A trace of pity quickly flashed through his eyes. The girl in red who was kneeling on the ground received the slap and raised her head in disbelief. At this moment, the tears she had been holding back in her eyes finally fell uncontrollably. The crystal-hot tears fell silently one by one on her small porcelain face. She seemed unable to believe that her master, who had always loved her and treated her very well, would actually hit her. Or for that woman with bad intentions. That woman had obviously only known him for less than a month. But she has been by his side for 17 years. Master, hit me. The girl spoke, her voice trembling. The half of the face that was beaten was covered with blood-red fingerprints, but the other half of her face had no blood at all, and was as pale as the thick layer of snow covering the ground. The dark eyes, flooded with tears, showed great pain. The man in white seemed stunned for a moment, lowered his head and looked at her. When he met her eyes, his heart, which had always been calm and indifferent, seemed to be burned by something. This sudden unfamiliar emotion made him feel a little uncomfortable for a while. He frowned and looked away uncomfortably. You should reflect here. After saying these words, the man in white turned around and left. Behind him, the girl in red's knees weakened the moment he turned around, and she fell to the cold ground as if she had lost her soul. Okay, stuck. This scene ends here. When the director stepped forward and walked in front of Xiao Mian had not fully recovered from the emotions of the scene just now. She was still crying, her eyes were still hurt, and she was sitting there with a lost look on her face. On the ground. Xiao Mian, you performed very well in that scene just now. Although the director has strict requirements for actors, he is not stingy in praising actors who perform well. When Xiao Mian went to the audition before, he knew that she had good acting skills. But during the audition, the performance was only for a few minutes. Even though he was satisfied with Xiao Mian's performance at the time, he was still worried about whether her performance would be unstable. She is still a newcomer after all. There weren't many works before. The second female lead has a very important role, and she has many scenes opposite the female lead and the male lead. Performing opposite movie queens like Shenfei and Sujian, not to mention a newcomer with little experience, even many old people who have been in the industry for many years may not be able to take on their roles. So before filming started for this scene, the director was a little worried. He was even mentally prepared to be NGED many times. Who would have known that Xiao Mian would give him such a big surprise? Not only did she take the scene very well and steadily, but she also completed it in one go. Especially the part where you cry. Her tears really come and go, and she cries so naturally, making people feel that she is really experiencing the pain, rather than acting. At this moment, the director really felt that he had found a treasure. Can you give him a dozen actors who are so beautiful, have such good acting skills, and can also bring traffic and topics to their movies? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 2713. Chapter 2713. What a terrible future life. He is so needy. Thank you, director, for your approval. After a while, Xiao Mian came out of the scene, and her mood gradually returned to normal. She patted the snow prop on her hand and stood up slowly. Seeing that the director was satisfied with her performance just now, she couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. This director has extremely high requirements for actors. Belongs to perfectionists. I am very picky about the actors' performances. If there is even the slightest bit of dissatisfaction to him, he will ask for a reshoot. But it is precisely because of this that almost all the works he directed have become classics. Not only is it a hit, but it also has an excellent reputation. Chiao Mian Mian is naturally very serious about her performance and will never dare to be perfunctory, but she can't guarantee whether the director will be satisfied. "You really surprised me," the director said with a smile with unabashed appreciation in his eyes. "You performed much better than I expected. I didn't expect that a newcomer of your age could actually take on the task live Sujin's play. You know, there are not many actors in the circle who can remember Sujin's plays. Apart from Shenfei, you are the second person who can act opposite Sujin easily and without any pressure. A newcomer like you has a great future." The director publicly praised Chiao Mian Mian and expressed his appreciation for her in this way, which shows that he is really satisfied with her. Chiao Mian Mian didn't know that besides Shenfei, she was the second actress to be praised by the director like this. She would not even know that at this moment, the director has decided to reserve a role for her in his next movie. She just felt a little flattered and a little embarrassed by the praise. "Thank you for the director's praise, I will continue to work hard." Mian Mian, our director Xie is a very demanding person. To be praised like this by him shows that director Xie is really satisfied with you. Shenfei walked over with a smile and put her arm on Chiao Mian Mian's arm. "Director Xie, you should feel relieved now. I told you a long time ago that Mian Mian will be fine. Don't worry, the director laughed and said, "The waves behind you in the Yangtze River push the waves ahead. It's really scary for young people. After Shen Ying, the junior next to you is so outstanding. Do you, a senior, feel the pressure?" "Is there pressure?" Shenfei chuckled, with confidence in her bright eyes. "Only when there is pressure can we promote progress. I hope that there will be more outstanding juniors like this in our circle. Only in this way can our industry develop more and more good." Shenfei had a headache when she thought of those so-called actors who could fool them by reading their lines and counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But unfortunately, there are quite a few such juniors in the circle now. As long as you look good, even if you don't have any acting skills, there will always be fans who will pay for it. It is precisely because of this that there are fewer and fewer artists who are willing to work hard professionally. After all, it's so easy to rely on your face to make a living. Can make money by being lazy. Who is willing to suffer that burden? It is precisely because this phenomenon is becoming more and more common, and artists like Chiao Mian Mian who are willing to really put their minds into acting are extremely precious. Of course, the director understood the meaning of Shenfei's words. Thinking of some phenomena in the industry today, he couldn't help but sigh. "You are right. It would be great to have more new talents like Mian Mian in our industry." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 2714. Chapter 2714. There is another candidate. Xiao Qiao did really well just now. Even Sujin, who has always been harsh, praised Chiao Mian Mian in a rare way after hearing the conversation between the director and Shenfei. Whether it was physical, verbal, or emotional, she was very good. It's spot on. Look, even our best actor Su thinks it's pretty good. Mian Mian, you know, getting a compliment from our best actor Su is harder than reaching the sky. Shenfei said with a smile. His mouth is so open, I don't know. I've scolded and cried many little girls before. This is the first time I've seen someone praise someone like this. Senior Su, do you really think I performed well just now? Chiao Mian Mian raised her head and looked at Su Jin with some flatterment. She was prepared to be scolded. What can be obtained is actually praise. It's pretty good. Su Jin's extremely serious-looking Dean face turned out to be gentle at the moment, even smiling a little, especially your crying scene, it's really contagious. Chiao Mian Mian was extremely happy, her eyebrows curved and she said, "Thank you, Senior Su, for your affirmation." Being able to be praised by such a venomous tongue like Su Jin is even happier than having her win a big prize. But Su Jin suddenly changed his tone again. Chiao Mian Mian immediately put on an expression of humbly asking for advice. "Senior Su, Please give me some advice. Sujin didn't have a good impression of Chiao Mian at first. Even a little biased. He heard people say that this very beautiful girl was a rich man, and she was married to a super powerful husband. In Sujin's view, when such people enter the entertainment industry, they probably think this industry is new and fun. It is impossible to really take the acting industry seriously. Being able to get the role of the second female lead must be due to connections. But his prejudice against Chiao Mian disappeared less than a minute after the two officially entered the rivalry scene. By the time the scene ended, Sujin's impression of Chiao Mian had completely changed. From the initial prejudice, it has become the current appreciation. Sujin was still willing to give advice to the juniors he admired. After thinking for a moment, he said seriously, "There is no big problem, it's just that some details are lacking. Once you get into a certain emotion, you will ignore some details. It would be better if we could pay more attention to details." Chiao Mian attached great importance to this valuable opinion and immediately nodded, "Thank you, Senior Su, for your suggestion. I will pay attention to it in the future." "Well, there's no rush, just take your time. When you make a few more movies in the future, you'll be able to do better as you gain experience." Seeing that her attitude was so upright, Sujin admired her even more. 2 points. This little girl is very polite. She doesn't feel superior to others because of her status and background. She calls him senior every time, which makes him feel quite comfortable. Sujin really felt that this little girl would become the second Shenfei in the future. "I'm not sure, I can even surpass Shenfei. Shenfei has another candidate to compete for the next Golden Globe Best Actress." Asterisk. The filming for the next 2 months went very smoothly. It arrived smoothly. The movie was originally scheduled to be shot for 3 months, but it ended up being completed half a month ahead of schedule. On the night of filming, Chiao Mian inevitably drank some wine. When she followed the crew out of the club drunkenly, and saw a familiar tall figure standing next to a Lamborghini sports car parked outside the club gate, she thought she was drunk. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 2715. Chapter 2715. Why are you disobedient? It wasn't until the man raised his head, and under the moonlight, that handsome and shocking face came into Chiao Mian's eyes bit by bit, and when he walked towards her with gentle eyebrows, Chiao Mian finally identified the man. For a moment, the handsome man who was just a few meters away had already walked up to her. Mian, Mr. Mo is here to pick you up. It seems that you don't need to go for supper with us. Then I will go with them and contact you if anything happens." Linda gestured to her to call. Gesture. I don't know if Chiao Mian heard what she said, but Linda didn't see her reaction. Linda just thought she was so happy to see Mo Yesi. After all, the young couple haven't seen each other for a while. Linda wasn't going to be a light bulb either. After politely greeting Mo Yesi, she followed the rest of the crew to have a midnight snack. Several young female artists in the crew couldn't help but be startled when they saw Mo Yesi. Even though they knew about his relationship with Chiao Mian, they couldn't help but take a few more glances. Then they all sighed in their hearts about Chiao Mian's good life. The man she married was simply the best of the best. Not to mention how prominent his status is, his face and figure alone make him the best among men. Just for her looks, she is one of the best in the entertainment industry. Not to mention, he is also the president of Mo Group. He is rich and powerful. No one in the entertainment industry can compare with him. Although many female celebrities are married to rich families. But what kind of man did they marry? Either he is older enough to be a father. Either they are ugly, fat, and look greasy to death. Moreover, most of these men are very philandering, and all kinds of news were revealed not long after they got married. What about keeping a mistress, entertaining women outside, having an illegitimate child, and so on. Not to mention, those so-called wealthy families have no way to compare with a truly famous family like the Mahist family. Moreover, such an outstanding man has no gossip at all. After marriage, he devoted himself to doting on his wife. The female artists all showed envy in their eyes. Chiao Mian, who was envied by them, seemed to have not yet fully recovered. She looked at the man who walked in front of her with a dazed expression. After looking at it for a long time, she asked stupidly, "Mo Yesi, why are you here?" "What do you think?" The man had an aura of dignity that could not be concealed, and he gently touched her little face that was slightly red due to being tipsy with one hand. His warm palm was pressed against her soft cheek, and her little face was as hot as fire. He frowned slightly and said, "How much wine have you drunk? Didn't I tell you that you are not allowed to drink outside? Why are you disobedient?" "Yeah, it's not much." Chiao Mian just finished speaking and burped. She quickly covered her mouth with her hand. "I just drank a little." "A little bit?" "Well, a little bit." She blinked, like a child who was caught by her parents for doing something wrong, with a little panic in her eyes. "I usually listen to you and don't drink. Tonight is for I was celebrating the movie wrapping up early, so I drank some. But it was really just a small drink. And Sister Xie is also with me. Besides, the crew are all acquaintances, so nothing will happen." Mo Yesi had told her before that she was not allowed to drinking outside. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 2716. Chapter 2716. So we took a special plane back. Because her drinking capacity is really bad. She can get drunk even after just a small drink. Because of this, Mo Yesi was very worried about her, so he forbade her to drink outside. She was a little panicked now that he had caught her. Not even a small cup. Mo Yesi looked at her with an obviously drunken look, reached out and grabbed her into his arms, and scolded her with a straight face, "Forget it this time, let me know next time you're out drinking, let's see how I deal with you. Unless I'm with you from now on, I'm not allowed to drink a drop of wine, do you understand?" Oh, I know. Although Chiao Mian was scolded by him, she was not afraid at all, because at this moment, she was only filled with joy. She lay in his arms, hugged him, raised her bright red face, and asked with a smile, "Didn't you say you have been very busy recently? How did you come to country? Why? Other than coming to see some heartless little thing, what other reason could there be?" Mo Yesi pinched her little face. "Otherwise, what do you think I am here for? On vacation?" Chiao Mian smiled heartlessly. "Then why didn't you tell me in advance when you came? It has been almost a month since we last met." To be honest, Chiao Mian really misses Mo Yesi. It is said that a long separation is better than a new marriage, and she now feels that this is indeed the case. "I told you in advance, there won't be any surprises." Mo Yesi half carried her to the cool Lamborghini sports car, opened the door, and carried her into the car. After seeing Chiao Mian sit down, he closed the car door, walked around to the other half and got in the car. After getting in the car, he first fastened Chiao Mian's seat belt, and then fastened his own. "Now go back to the hotel and pack your bags, and then we'll go home." "Are you going back tonight?" After hearing his words, Chiao Mian couldn't help but be startled. "Well, what's the matter, don't you want to go home early?" Mo Yesi turned back to look at her. "No, but the flight should be cancelled tonight." "The flight was cancelled, so we took a special plane back." Mo Yesi's understatement made Chiao Mian fall into silence. All right. She had even forgotten that there was such a thing as a private plane. Asterisk. After returning to China. In order to get rid of the jet lag, Chiao Mian slept for almost 20 hours before replenishing her energy. After filming Phoenix Flying, she took a long vacation for herself. Linda sighed, because she had been given instructions early in the morning, she did not receive any more work. She was completely at ease. Then start serious efforts to prepare for pregnancy. In terms of her preparation for pregnancy, Mo Yesi was more active than her, worked harder, and was fully cooperative. So this week after returning to China, Chiao Mian had backache and leg pain almost every day. She couldn't help but complain to Zhang Luli. Chiao Mian, Luoluo, did you and Mo Shixia really get pregnant with the baby because of the accident when you went abroad with him? Zhang Luli stayed at home to nurse her baby almost every day, which was probably quite boring. Chiao Mian just sent her WeChat message and she replied instantly. Zhang Luli. Why did I suddenly think of asking this? End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 2717. Chapter 2717 looks like he's in a bad mood. Chiao Mian, answer me first. Zhang Luli, well, didn't I tell you? Chiao Mian, how come you and Mo Shixia were able to conceive a baby so smoothly? Why is it that even though Mo Yesi and I have worked so hard, there is no movement in my stomach? Zhang Luli. So you want to show off to me that you and your boyfriend live a happy life every day? When Chiao Mian saw this reply, the corners of her mouth twitched. Can't Zhang Luli see that she is complaining? She has no intention of showing off at all. Chiao Mian, I'm not showing off. Luoluo, you don't even know how miserable I am during this time. Your boyfriend wants to have a child so much that he wants to have a baby. Oh, I feel like my bones are about to fall apart. I can't figure it out, why we are well prepared for everything, but there is still no good news. Neither you nor Mo Shixia thought about having children at that time, but you could have them easily. Zhang Luli, have you calculated your ovulation date? Chiao Mian, forget it, there must be something to it. Mo Yesi remembers my ovulation period better than me every month. Zhang Luli, did you and your boyfriend go to the hospital for examination? Chiao Mian, go to the hospital for a checkup? Zhang Luli, yes, you and the male idol are both still young. I think the male idol is also in good health. Logically speaking, it should be easy to conceive a baby. I suggest that you both go to the hospital for a checkup. If both of you are fine, there is no need to worry. You should be relaxed about this kind of thing. The more anxious you are, the more likely it is to backfire. Chiao Mian never thought about going to the hospital for a checkup or anything. Because she never thought that the inability to conceive a baby was due to physical reasons. She and Mo Yesi are both still young and in good health. But after reading Zhang Luli's reply, she really doubted whether there might be something wrong with one of her or Mo Yesi. Mo Yesi has been working out all year round, and every time he tortured her until she was half dead, he still looked energetic. Hence, the possibility of Mo Yesi having physical problems is extremely small. That means there is something wrong with her health. Thinking of this possibility, Chiao Mian's heart suddenly became heavy. If there is really something wrong with her health and she cannot conceive a baby, then she and Mo Yesi. Asterisk. Mo Yesi came back from get off work. As soon as he walked into the hall, Butler Ren walked up to him, first called the young master respectfully, and then raised his head and gave him a hesitant look. As if he had something to say. If you have anything to say, just tell him. Mo Yesi saw that he had something to say, so he handed the suit he took off to Ren and walked upstairs. Lin kept a small distance of half a step from him and followed behind him. Master, I see that the young lady seems to be in a bad mood. She has been sitting in the garden all afternoon. Mo Yesi paused as he went upstairs and turned his head. Young lady, have you been sitting in the garden all afternoon? Yes, it looks like he is worried about something. Is she still in the garden now? Yes. Moyesi frowned, turned around and walked towards the garden without changing his clothes. Asterisk. Madam, the garden is very humid at night. You have been sitting in the garden for so long, it's time for you to go back. In the garden. A maid walked up to Chiao Mian and spoke to her softly. Don't worry about me. Chiao Mian looked at the maid who came to her for the third time. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 2718. Chapter 2718. Will they let us divorce? Don't worry about me. Chiao Mian looked at the maid who walked up to her for the third time, stretched out her hand to rub her brows, and said worriedly, I'll sit down for a while and then go back. But madam. The maid wanted to persuade her again, but suddenly she heard footsteps approaching from behind. When she turned around and saw who was coming, she immediately lowered her head and called out respectfully, Master. Hearing the maid's call for master, Chiao Mian raised her head. A handsome man in black clothes and black trousers walked up to her. I heard from Ren that you have been sitting in the garden all afternoon. Did something happen? Moyesi lowered his head and saw the girl sitting on the bench with her eyebrows furrowed and a sad look on her face. Looks worried. Seeing Moyesi coming, the maid wisely turned around and left, leaving a separate space for the couple. You're back. Chiao Mian didn't give Moyesi a hug when he came home from get off work as usual. She just turned her head and glanced at him, even her voice was weak. Well, I just got home. Moyesi looked at her. Ren told me that you might be in a bad mood. What happened to you? Why do you look so downcast? Is it something at work or something? Anything else, tell me. Chiao Mian felt very depressed ever since she thought it was because of something wrong with her body that prevented her from conceiving a baby. She has been mourning all day. She even thought about whether she and Moyesi would get divorced because of this matter. Because if it was really her fault that she couldn't get pregnant, then even if Moyesi himself didn't mind, others in the Mo family would definitely mind. A wealthy family like the Mo family absolutely care about his children. Even if the old lady likes her, if she knows that she can't give birth to a child, I'm afraid. Don't call her an old lady. She herself is probably very concerned about it. The fact that Moyesi wants children so much shows that he likes children very much. How can his wife be a woman who cannot give birth to children? Thinking about it, Chiao Mian felt sad again. Moyesi, I'm thinking about something. I've been thinking about it all day. What's the matter? Moyesi stretched out his hand to pull her towards him. Seeing that her eyes were red, her face could not help but darken. Did someone bully you? Tell me, what happened? I don't care about you. Whatever happens, I will face it with you and help you solve it together. The more he cared about her, the more uncomfortable Chiao Mian felt. In the past, when she had no feelings for Moyesi, she thought of divorce and got divorced. But now, just thinking about their divorce made her so uncomfortable that she couldn't help but burst into tears. Moyesi, why do you think I can't conceive a baby even though we have worked so hard? Chiao Mian said in a thin voice, choked with sobs. Eldest brother and Lugo got married so smoothly. This shows that you Mo family people, his physique must be very good. But why, I haven't been able to conceive a baby. You say, is there something wrong with my health that prevents me from conceiving a baby? Chiao Mian raised her head with red eyes. At this point, she couldn't help but shed tears. There was worry and fear in her eyes. If it's because of me, will they let us divorce? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 2719. Chapter 2719. So, my answer is the same as yours. Mo Yessie, I don't want to divorce you. I don't want to leave you. I feel so sad when I think about not having you by my side in the future. Mo Yessie felt extremely distressed when he saw her crying like this, but what she just said made him dumbfounded. He took out a handkerchief and wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes with an extremely gentle movement. So, is this why you sat in the garden all afternoon today? Chiao Mian sobbed, I'm just very upset. Mo Yessie, you haven't answered me yet. If it's really because of my problem that you can't conceive a baby, what do you think we should do? What if they really want us to divorce? What will you do? The man paused in wiping her tears. He put the handkerchief aside and gently wiped away the tears on her face with his fingertips. After completely wiping her wet face, he asked in a low voice, Are you worried about whether you will get pregnant? Are you still worried about divorcing me if you have a baby? We're all worried. Chiao Mian's eyes were still red. She sniffed and bit her lips and whispered softly, If I can't conceive a baby, they will definitely let us divorce. You are the president of MO Group, you can't live without an heir. So, are you worried that we will get divorced because of this matter? You are worried that I will leave you, right? The man's voice was extremely gentle, and the deep eyes that were looking at her were also extremely gentle. Chiao Mian nodded. Then I saw a bright light passing through his dark eyes for a moment. She could feel that Mo Yessie seemed to be in a good mood at this moment. Baby, are you stupid? At this moment, Mo Yessie was indeed in a very good mood, and the corners of his lips couldn't help but raise. How could you have thought that I would divorce you? Didn't I tell you a long time ago? However, Mo Yessie, will only have you as my wife in this life. Mrs. Mo's position will always belong to you alone. I know Chiao Mian was never worried that Mo Yessie would divorce her. She was worried that other people would force them to divorce, and she herself might also ask for a divorce from him. He is so good. She cannot allow him to have a complete family because of her. She has thought about it all. She will go to the hospital for a checkup tomorrow. If it turns out that she is unable to get pregnant due to her fault, she will take the initiative to divorce Mo Yessie. Even though, she must be very reluctant to leave him. Even though, she will definitely be very sad. However, she could not deprive Mo Yessie of his right to be a father. He is a person who likes children so much. Then what are you still worried about? Mo Yessie asked confused. Mo Yessie, if I really can't conceive a baby, will you really not divorce me? Chiao Mian did not answer his question, but asked him another question. The man stared at her with his deep, dark eyes, which were filled with constant tenderness and doting. He did not answer her immediately. After a moment, he reached out and pulled her into his arms. Why do you think it must be your problem? It may also be my problem. Let me ask you, if it was because of me, would you divorce me? Of course not, Chiao Mian said without hesitation. So, my answer is the same as yours. I recommend a book written by a friend. It's an anti-routine type. It's very interesting. It's also being serialized for free. Author, June Anan. Title of the book, She Doesn't Want to Be Reborn as a Max-Level Boss. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 2720. Chapter 2720. Be my secretary for a few days. So, my answer is the same as yours. Mo Yessie gently brushed away a strand of hair from her forehead. Mian, listen carefully, we can never get divorced. Besides, didn't I say it before, how are you so sure it's your problem? Stop thinking so wildly, we are definitely fine. Didn't you also say that this kind of thing should be allowed to take its course? The more urgent it may be, the more counterproductive it may be. If you are really worried, I will just accompany you to the hospital tomorrow. Besides, even if one of us really has a physical problem, medical science is so advanced now that it can be cured. Why do you have to think about the worst? Chiao Mian leaned in his arms, listening to his comfort, and felt a lot more relaxed. Yes. Medicine is very advanced now. Even if one of her or Mo Yesi really has a physical problem, he can still take medicine to treat it. Aren't there many infertile couples who take medicine to get their bodies back in order? She and Mo Yesi are both still young. Even if it takes a few years to recuperate before having a baby, it's not too late. Mo Shixiu also had a child when he was 30. Mo Yesi is less than 28 years old. Thinking of this, Chiao Mianmian's heart finally felt less blocked. She nodded slightly. Well, I won't think about it anymore. You shouldn't have thought about it in the first place. Mo Yesi pinched her face. You feel better now, don't you feel uncomfortable anymore? Well, it's much more comfortable. Chiao Mian nodded honestly. I think you have nothing to do at home during this period, so you are thinking nonsense. Why don't you go to work with me tomorrow and be my secretary for a few days, so that you don't have to sit at home and think nonsense? Should I go to work with you? Chiao Mian was stunned for a moment. Well, you don't have to get up with me in the morning. You can go to the company after you have had enough sleep. Your time in the company is also free. You can take a rest at any time when you are tired, or you can leave work early. Chiao Mian was a little moved after hearing this. During this period, she did feel a little bored. In the past, you could often ask Zhang Luli to go shopping together, have a meal or something. But now that Zhang Luli has a baby, it's hard for Chiao Mian to ask her out again. As for other people, Linda is bringing in new people, and her daily schedule is full, so it's naturally hard to make appointments. Zanbo, as one of the top front-line traffic users, has a very full schedule. From what he said, his work schedule has been scheduled until the next year. Chiao Chen also went to another place to study at university. For a time, Chiao Mian couldn't seem to find anyone even if she wanted to go out for a meal. When she was busy in the past, she really wanted to rest. But when she really had some free time, she felt too bored. Then I will be your secretary. What do I need to do? Professional secretaries will do the complicated work, you only need to do the simple ones. Simply means make coffee and tea. You can also read some simple documents and ask me if you don't understand anything. Have a meal with me at noon and chat with me when I'm upset. You should be able to do this. Can you do it? Yes, of course I can. Chiao Mian nodded immediately and said, I can do all of these. However, if I go to work with you every day, will it delay your work? End of this chapter.